Hi everyone, this is Ron with Newman, and today we have here the new Honor MagicBook 14. Yes, I just did a hands-on video on the MagicBook Pro, and then this arrived at my house just after I finished that. So we're gonna do the hands-on video for this one as well. So the big difference between the MagicBook Pro and the MagicBook 14 is that this is, well, smaller for one thing, but it also has a U series processor instead of an H series. So it's meant to be more portable and more power efficient, of course, than the H series. If I can get this open, that would be great. But this is, so I already reviewed the MagicBook 14 earlier. Oh wow, that's not a good box for this kind of thing. I already reviewed the MagicBook 14 earlier in the year, but the thing about that is that that one came out in February, and it came with a Ryzen 3000 series processors, which on mobile is equivalent to it's only the second generation Ryzen, I believe. So it wasn't the new Ryzen stuff that was announced in January. Then that was a lot more powerful and more power efficient because it's 7nm and all of that. These ones come with Ryzen 4000. Even though it's U series, it's not as powerful as the Pro, but it's still Ryzen 4000. So I'm still very excited to try that one out. I am just absolutely destroying this box. That's not good. Anyways, so the layout here is very, very similar to what's on the MagicBook Pro. This one does come with a UK power adapter, apparently. But since these are both 65 watts, I'll probably just use the MagicBook Pro charger for this. And of course, the same kind of USB cable. No need to go through that again. Some manuals, and now the computer itself is here. Obviously, it's much lighter than the normal MagicBook because, well, it's smaller. But it still feels somewhat substantial. For a 14-inch laptop, it still feels, like it has some heft to it. So we're gonna go ahead and put this box away. And here is the laptop. So we're gonna also take it out of the sleeve here. So everything is very similar between the Pro and the Book in terms of the packaging. But okay, so the big difference here, of course, is that the MagicBook, the regular one, has this blue Honor logo there. And it also has these beautiful blue chamfered edges all around, which I could be wrong. I think the MagicBook 14 that I reviewed the first time. So this is the space gray model. I think the first one I reviewed was the more silver looking one, the lighter color. And the blue didn't look, I don't think, as dark as it does here. But at the same time, it also looks more vivid on this laptop. Like I see it more, maybe because the rest of the laptop is darker. So it looks nice. I do think this is nicer in terms of looks than the MagicBook Pro because I like a little bit of flare and color. The MagicBook Pro is fine, but I do like a little bit of, flare. So we probably need to power this on. So I'll be right back after I plug this in. Okay, so now we've had it plugged in a little bit. And because I keep forgetting to do this, let's take a look at the ports on this. So this is similar but slightly different to the MagicBook Pro. So you only have one USB on this side and a combo audio jack, and then you have another USB on this side, HDMI and USB Type-C for charging here. The thing about, so you get one less USB Type-A port, and also one of the Type-A ports on this one is USB 2.0. So on the MagicBook Pro, if I'm not mistaken, all the ports are USB 3.2 Gen 1. Here you get one 3.2 Gen 1 and one 2.0. But yeah, aside from that, like I said, the design is very similar. Colors are a little more prevalent here. Obviously, this is also slightly smaller. It's thinner and lighter because of the size, naturally. But in terms of the design language, it's all very, very similar. So we're gonna go ahead and open it up. It does not open well with one hand. So if you were wondering about that, that's not gonna happen. So we remove this little thing. And of course, a few differences here. This is a British keyboard, not a German one, so some changes there right away. But I think it's a British keyboard. Yeah. And also, no top firing speakers. Those are now on the bottom, I believe. Yeah, right there. So it's not gonna be as nice, but oh well, it's fine. So like a lot of laptops still have bottom firing speakers, unfortunately, and they're still audible. It's not like you can't use them, but I do wish they had top firing speakers. So the build quality here is not as nice as on the Pro. The frame around the display doesn't feel quite as premium. It's got bigger bezels, especially here at the bottom. And the hinge here also looks plastic instead of fitting in with the rest of the design. So there are definitely some things here that are not as nice as on the Pro. However, you do still get a huge trackpad here, maybe bigger than the Pro. And the keyboard's still a full array, and you still have the same problem of having a hidden webcam there. So I'm still not a fan of this, by the way. It's just a camera that pops up from under the keyboard. It's fine. I'm really not a huge fan of this implementation. Just because having the camera point up at you from so low is not a nice angle. It's less adjustable, so if you want to, usually you can tilt the screen a little bit to get like a better angle. But now you can't do any of that. You need to move the whole laptop, and it's a lot harder. But oh well, that's how they did it. We're just gonna go ahead and set up Windows here. We're not gonna put that all in the video, and I will be right back.
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
Please don't do that. And I will be right back once Windows is set up. Okay, so now that it's set up, we're here in the Windows desktop. You can kind of see it. I just wanted to mention that, of course, the power button still has a fingerprint sensor. I don't know if I said that already. It works like on the MagicBook Pro, so as soon as you press it to turn on the computer, it'll read your fingerprint. And once it gets to the lock screen, it just takes that information and logs you in right away. So that is still a very useful feature that I appreciate very much. So the display here is 14 inches. Of course, this is the MagicBook 14 after all. And it is very nice. It's still full HD, like the MagicBook Pro. So it's a little more, it has a little more pixel density. It's got like a little crisper in that sense. And it has this colorful background as well. I'd say this background is actually better than the other one for showcasing the display. But I feel like the colors on this one are not as vivid as on the other one. It feels a little more washed out. I could be wrong, but it does. It's still usable, but it's not super vivid in terms of the punchiness of the colors. Yeah, and this is the max brightness. It doesn't feel super bright. In terms of the software installed, it's exactly the same thing as previous Honor PCs and the MagicBook Pro. So you get this thing. I don't think it does anything. Before I said it was an app, but I think it's just a warning to tell you like how the function keys work. It doesn't actually get to do anything through that. And then you have the PC manager, which is the biggest thing. So it basically just checks for like driver updates and things like that. You can run diagnostics on your computer, I believe. And then there's the My Phone integration here. So you can link up your phone And then you can do things like tap. I think you can tap here on the bottom of the laptop, and then you can do things like share your screen to the laptop, so you can control your phone from your laptop, and you can have apparently a shared clipboard and send files from your phone to here, assuming of course you have a Honor phone too. So this is also on Huawei laptops and Huawei phones, and it's a pretty useful thing. It's supposed to be sort of AirDrop competitor. I've never used it personally because I've never had a Honor phone and laptop at the same time, but it is useful. So we've gone through pretty much everything in terms of the software. So this is running Windows 10 naturally. If it's like the MagicBook Pro, it would be Windows 10 version 2004. So it is the latest version in that sense. In my case, I'm even seeing it seems to have pretty recent patches too. So all pretty nice. The big difference, of course, is the specs. So this is a Ryzen 4500U, while the MagicBook Pro has the 4600H. So this is a 15-watt processor instead of 35, but it's still 6 cores, 12 threads, and it's got Radeon graphics, which are usually better than the Intel integrated ones. Though now we have Tiger Lake coming, those are supposed to be very good too. But this is a low power version of the MagicBook, and the MagicBook Pro has a more power hungry processor, but obviously faster processor. This has 8 gigabytes of RAM instead of the 16 on the Pro, and it has 512 gigabytes of storage, though there are also models with 256 gigabytes. It depends on where you live. But yeah, in terms of the specs, that's it. What are the clock speeds for the CPUs? That's something that's relevant. So according to this, it's 2.38 gigahertz. So that's it's pretty nice. I mean, I can't really say much about the performance until I use it. So I'm not gonna pretend that I know what it's like, but I have seen reviews comparing this Ryzen 5 4500U to the Intel Core i7 1065 G7. So this is, very close to Intel's top offering from before. And by that I mean before Tiger Lake, compared to Ice Lake, of course. There was the Ryzen 5 being so close to the Core i7 is pretty impressive. So, this is still an exciting device in its own right. It's, obviously more portable and less powerful than the MagicBook Pro, but it's powerful in its own right, in its own way. So I'm also very excited for this one. I will probably review the MagicBook Pro first, though. So yeah, we've gone through pretty much everything. I mean, it is a Windows laptop, so the software is pretty identical across the board. And of course, I'm excited to try this out. But that'll be it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.